families are huge karmic learnings. Most of our family members are always karmic relationships, right? It is very rare to have a soulmate within a physical family structure, and even if it happens, you're gonna have like one person maybe. For most part, they're gonna be souls with completely different journeys and a completely different level of development of a soul, but it serves a purpose. As a soul, we carefully choose our family members, and to each and every one of us, it serves our own growth, our own soul development, our own individual karmic lessons, right? So they're always challenging relationships as we awaken, as we grow, as we heal. Even if we have people in the family who are good people, and relationships that are not, toxic, negative, abusive, it's always challenging. It's always challenging because, again, we find ourselves in a different place of this journey, on a different level of this journey. And the key lesson of a family is always because it's this conditioning of a society, right, that tells us that we cannot move away from a family. Side note, it's a complete lie. If there's someone who is actually, some soul contract will never be closed until you decide to cut someone off completely. The most brutal lessons, the most abusive lessons, right? But overall, it's this conditioning as well. We are conditioned as humans in this world that you have to stick to your family, that you're no one without your family, that you're alone without your family. It's that something that makes us feel that we belong, that we always have a place to go when we feel lonely, right? And as a soul, those of us who truly awaken and truly start to see the meaning of life, we understand that what matters is a soul family, not a physical family. It's not the lineage of the body, although we should respect it because it always has a meaning. It's actually the lineage of the soul that matters. But I feel that there's something for this collective, right? That whether you accept it or not, again, every family brings challenges, every family brings discussions, every family has ups and downs, every family has people that clash more or less with each other. But I feel there's something within your family for this collective that, whether you know it or not, it's the family that has given you the strength. So maybe you have people that went through a lot in your family, but they always maintain the positive mind, the mindset, and it's beautiful. There would be something within your family around strength, around, like, it's what I said in previous parts. Some people with the minor struggle, they're gonna get, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Why life is so cruel? Others have more and I don't. And some people, despite the fact that they struggle with something, and something, quite challenging and brutal and painful happens in their life, they still find it in them to laugh, to move on, to go on. What are we going to do? It's this wisdom of a soul that starts to, overcome the ego. What are we going to do? It is what it is. And I feel there's something that's given you and taught you that stability, that foundation, that strength, that positive sort of outlook on life. But I feel like your outlook on family and family relationship in this past 9-year cycle would have changed completely. All right, beautiful. If that resonated, we're gonna do some guidance for this collective. I want to start from emotions cards. Yes, I want to start from emotions to ask, what is it that you maybe are not necessarily still yet seeing? What is it that your guides want you to sort of focus on? Maybe things that you have to release, maybe things that you have to embrace, maybe things you have to understand better. So let's see what comes through to nicely close this cycle. We have betrayal, we have worry. 2 fat shadows to start with. I'm going to do 2 more and then we'll chat. And I have 4. Peace. Hold on. We have peace. And 1 more. Enthusiasm. Enthusiasm. That's very nice. All right, we have betrayal. I do want to read through this card. This is number 68. We have betrayal. Remember when we were doing your first spread, we did have elements of abandonment, of broken relationship, of broken love. So maybe there was some sort of a betrayal. And maybe not necessarily I'm hearing just when it comes to, they're showing me many things. Slow down. Slow down. They're showing me compassion card as well. Maybe they have been a betrayal within the family. We've been talking about this a lot recently, and they bringing my mind back to a same thing. So maybe it's something that is relevant to this collective. I think I've mentioned this either in yesterday's reading or the previous one. A video that I recently saw online of a man talking about big hearts, that lion heart, that kind heart, that people that have big hearts and people who are good and kind in this world, they always suffer because they believe in goodness in other people. They refuse to, feel that that other people are just viciously and naturally evil. They always look for goodness and for excuses. And I was explaining to you guys, which is the truth, that what he's saying is not necessarily true, because people who are good, who have good hearts, who have kind hearts, if they are healed, they also have boundaries and self-love. So accepting BS from other people has nothing to do with you having a good heart, but it has everything to do with you not having self-value, you not having self-worth, right? Because there are two different things: seeing the truth and seeing the goodness within another, and accepting BS that they are offering to us. Right? So maybe there is something still about betrayal and about balancing these two things that I've just mentioned that this collective you need to do, right? So when someone betrays us, and we'll read through this card, it's a very painful shadow. We should, if we have a kind heart, if we have that lion heart, which is strength and compassion, true strength with compassion, we see goodness in them. We see that if they betrayed me, it must have come from the place of wounding, from a place of weakness, from a place of them just not being a match to me energetically, them just not really understanding, right, what loyalty really is. But understanding that is not an excuse to continue to accept that betrayal, to continue to find excuses, right? So understanding does not equal excuse. That's what I'm hearing for this collective. Understanding why people do certain things that are not high vibrational, that are maybe, painful or hurtful for others. Understanding where it comes from does not equal accepting it. So maybe it's something that this collective you still need to learn. Maybe there are people in your life, whether that's people who are family. There's a reason I was also mentioning that it's a conditioning that we think that we have to accept family for all the BS that they have because they're family. You cannot challenge them because they're your father or your mother or your brother. It's not true. It's not true, right? This is the exact reason why the hardest karmic relationships are put within our family. Because we know as a soul that we're going to be conditioned to hold on to that no matter what, no matter humiliation, no matter betrayal, we're going to hold on to that because we have to, because it's family, right? But it's not true. And again, it's very individual. Some karmic contracts and karmic lessons, you close them by seeing the lesson and understanding the lesson and growing and releasing. But in the same time, you can have this person still around you. It's just like now you know how to manage the person, the relationship, and the emotion that they cause. Whereas some karmic contracts, as a soul, as we sign them, we design them that as long as we still continue to maintain a relationship with that person, it means that we haven't learned the lesson. This is why exactly the hardest relationships, karmic relationships, are being placed within a family, because our soul knows that the ego will resist till the very end to cut this person off your life, right? It would make sense for the right collective. I want to read for this betrayal. Betrayal is an extremely painful emotion caused by lack of honesty. Lack of loyalty, honesty, integrity, or truthfulness from people we love. In consequence, we tend to lock our heart to avoid facing it again. Often unable to understand betrayal, we blame love and relationships. We mentioned this as well, remember? This develops fear of commitment and love, trust issues, fear of intimacy and vulnerability, stubbornness, self-sabotage, or controlling and shallow behaviors in relationship. Through self-work, we learn to recognize patterns within ourselves and others, which allow us to assess, is it safe to open in a connection? We begin to trust ourselves and our intuition. We love ourselves enough to introduce boundaries in relationships and always progress at our own pace. So I was hearing, right, as we were sort of this reading was unfolding, I was hearing that you do have this understanding within you. Remember, we mentioned you ending in a relationship and you're not ending up all bitter, blaming love, relationship, and commitment. But maybe there is something still within the learnings of the previous cycle that you really have to allow to land in your heart and to settle in your heart, to really understand that it's not love, it's not commitment, it's not the nature of your relationship that it is to blame there. And ultimately it keeps going back to my mind. Ultimately, this is the key lesson again. This is the reason why certain lessons are placed within our family. Ultimately, there should be absolutely no difference how you allow a stranger to treat you and how you allow a family member to treat you. Do you know what I mean? So people excuse many things due to lack of self-love, which they don't understand, saying that, oh, because this is my father, or because this is my brother, or because this is my partner, right? Whereas it's not true. And of course, certain relationships are closer. So we allow certain people to get closer to us, which means that with certain people, we can allow ourselves to be more vulnerable. We can open up a little bit more. Although ultimately, from certain levels of consciousness, you realize that you should as well be similarly vulnerable with anyone. It's just that you have your levels of privacy, right? So you are allowed to have levels. How do I say this to you guys so you understand? Levels of access to you, right? Certain people, depending if it's a neighbor, a stranger, a romantical partner, a husband, a wife, they're going to have a different access to you, to your energy. And you open the doors of that access as they show you reciprocity, as they show you respect, as they show you a love, all right? But ultimately, your boundaries that are an invisible energetic shield created automatically by your self-love and by your authentic self. So the more we love ourselves, the more we understand who we are authentically, right? That automatic shield should be applied to everyone. It doesn't matter if you are the other half of my soul and I love you. It doesn't matter if you brought me to this planet and you're my mother, or if you're a stranger on a street. If I, as a person, given my self-love and my authenticity, would never allow something, I should not find excuses just because of the type of relationship that we have. Do you understand what I'm saying? So many people find these excuses, especially when it comes to the closest family members, and especially when it comes to love relationships, right? And romantical relationships. So I hear many people say, a specific situation is coming to my mind, so I'll share that. Someone once said to me, if this person was my friend, I would never speak to her again, but she is my sister, so I have to carry on with that relationship. No, you don't. It's the lack of self-love. It's the lack of your authentic self. It's a soul contract completely failed. It's a lesson completely failed, right? So perhaps you don't have to block and delete this person, right? Because they're a member of your family. So again, this forces us to manage relationship in a certain way. But it doesn't mean you can swipe everything that happened under a rug, and you have to continue to speak to this person, to spend your time with this person, to support this person, to respond on a daily basis to this person, just because she is your sister or your brother. And if it was your friend, it would be completely block delete. Do you understand what I mean? So maybe there's still a lesson in it for this collective. Who you are. What is your authentic self? What are your values? How do you love yourself? Again, it's the self-love and authenticity that create automatically the invisible shield that we call our boundary. And that is something that we should enforce effortlessly with everyone. It doesn't matter who they are. Do you know what I mean? So food for thought. And we have worry as the second one, which is number 92. And again, it's something that I feel that you have understanding of, because everything that we said, that there's positivity, there's positivity within this collecting coming from deep wisdom of a soul. But maybe there's certain things. I'm guided to do another row that you worry about in life. So let's read through this. Worry doesn't take away tomorrow's trouble. It only takes away today's peace. Worry is generated by our ego mind, and it serves no practical purpose. It creates unnecessary thoughts and emotions around not yet determined future events. When we worry, we manifest negative scenarios into our life, and we emit low vibrational emotions that only further attract negative circumstances. Both worry and hope are based on faith in what our future could bring. So it is our personal choice whether we decide to worry over future or look towards it with hope and trust. The soul doesn't worry. The soul knows, accepts, and trusts. When we are healed, we surrender to what's meant to be. We trust in the flow of life, knowing that Father Universe always has our back. Very true, very wise. And I feel this collective deep down, you know this, that worry has no practical purpose, that is low vibrational, that it's not going to take away your trouble, that it's not going to motivate you in any way to solve your problems. It's just a low vibrational, completely useless thinking pattern. But maybe there's still something that is activating that worry within you. And it's still something that you need to work on, right? We have peace and enthusiasm. I don't want to read through these. They're on the side of light. They're positive. They're positive cards. I'm sort of guided just to read the final paragraph that always clarifies how we can confuse these emotions, because we're doing what is it that you still need to release. So maybe you still need to work on that inner peace a little bit more. When we are wounded, the shadow of numbness and disconnect can disguise itself as peace. Make sure you are rooted in love, authenticity, and alignment. If you are not at peace with yourself, you are not at peace at all. So what I'm hearing is that maybe this collective in the past, you had the tendency to, we did mention that you had a moment of distractions and dissociation to get away from your trouble. We mentioned this in a previous part. So maybe it's something that you still need to work on, to really understand that not thinking about something, swiping it under a rug, not talking about it, it's not making it disappear. It's the sitting on emotion, it's the processing it, it's truly understanding it, it's releasing it, that is fostering that inner peace within us, right? It's not the numbness. It's not the, I'm not seeing it, so it's not here, right? It's acknowledging that it's here, that it's there. The elephant in the room, it's standing right there. I know it, but it's not disrupting my peace. And we have enthusiasm. And I do feel that I'm hearing that it's something that you have within this collective. But the reason we have this worry and enthusiasm, maybe there are still certain situations that you sort of go back and forth, that you sort of get a little bit still confused, despite the fact that generically you're very positive and you're optimistic. There's moments that you worry and that your enthusiasm gets dialed down. So if you were, maybe you should water it a little bit more, I'm hearing, and make sure that that enthusiasm is and then it's nothing to be ashamed of. And I do want to read through this because it's a beautiful card, and I feel like many times in life these days people sort of criticize and can have a negative outlook on enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is the expression of passion. The word itself comes from ancient Greek, means divine inspiration. It's a beautiful quality of people who love and cherish life. When we have passion for life, we create life force energy for self-expression. Enthusiasm is a language of gratitude that shows the universe with more than words, but with actual energy, that we are grateful for everything we receive. When we are wounded, we perceive enthusiasms of others as fake and forced. Very true. When we don't feel the joy of living in every cell of our body, we don't believe this energy in others. Remember, if you are passionate about something or someone, it's only natural to express your enthusiasm widely. And I'm hearing something very specific with this for this collective. There's this wounded collective belief within people, right? That if you do not see that someone suffers, it's because they don't suffer. Right? And if you think about this, there are people, when you look at them, whether that's through a perspective of social media or through a perspective of how you see them within a family, within friendships, right? You think that they're great and that they're happy. And we always say that it doesn't mean that these people don't struggle. It just means that they carry it well, that they carry it better, that they're more private, that they're more strong, they're more resilient in comparison to people who the smallest thing that happens, they constantly talk about it, they constantly complain, they cannot just get over this, they share, it's those people that when you follow them on social media, you know exactly whether they're going through breakup or they fall in love, or do you know what I mean? So this need to express what's going on within you, which is always a need for validation of what's going on within you. I feel this collective, you're someone who is quite private. You're someone who is one of those people that people will never know how much you suffered, what you've been through, because that suffering sort of expressed itself on the floor of your bathroom where you were there alone crying. You had no need to tell your story and to share your story with others, which is beautiful, right? It's what I said. It's not that certain people don't suffer, it's just that they carry it better. And I feel like maybe you had some experiences when someone said to you that it doesn't really, that you have such a good life. You have such a good life because you're always happy, you're always positive, you're always this and that, you're always enthusiastic. And in the meantime, you went through very hurtful things, through very difficult things, through very huge challenges in life. But don't allow people to take away your enthusiasm just to validate and to prove how much you're suffering on or the things that you're going through. I hope it's making sense what I'm saying. It's randomly came to my mind. That's what they showed me, but maybe this is what comes with the enthusiasm card for this collective, that you sometimes feel like people don't even know what you've been through. But again, the strongest souls, the oldest souls, those of us who were meant to truly awaken, people will never know what we've been through, not in just lifetime, but in others. But it's absolutely okay, because the need to tell your story every day, your pains, your sufferings, for everyone to know how much your ex hurt you, for everyone to know how much, how horrible it was growing up, or whatever you grew up, is the need for validation. Coming from low self-esteem, coming from separation, and coming from wounding. We don't need that. We need enthusiasm within people. We need the joy of life. The strongest souls, the oldest souls, the strongest warriors, and we said that from the beginning. You are one of the strongest warriors. People will never know. You always suffer in silence, because you know that the suffering is not for applaud of people and recognition of people. It's for the growth of your soul, right? which is beautiful. I hope it makes sense. I hope it makes sense. It will for the right collective. All right, my beautiful angels, let's continue with the guidance. What's coming for this collective and what's the guidance for the upcoming months, which will be the last months of this year. So until the equinox. Guidance. The illusion. The illusion. The illusion. I feel this collective, you are being guided through the path of understanding the illusion of the matrix. How much we're programmed. How much we're shackled by our minds that are programmed by our parents, by our culture from the day we're born. As we're being passed on universal truth that has nothing to do with universal truth, but very individual truth. The illusion. The illusion is it's the shark in the mind, the truth of the mind. I kind of want to read through this card to you. Hold on. Number 13, maybe that also matters. Phantom and the shark. In this card we see harpoon searching the sea for a dangerous shark that appears only in your mind's eye. Phantom shark has a direct message for you today. Your current fear, worry, or insecurity is an illusion. Did we say that? So there is something that you would worry about. You tricked yourself into hunting for a thing that doesn't even exist. By putting so much attention and effort into combating or avoiding what you are afraid of, you are simultaneously engaging and fueling it. Most fears quite literally only exist in our mind. When you feel small, insecure, or controlled by fear, this is not your true self. It's your programmed self, ruled by the limbic system, ego, past traumas, and a false marketing that always shames us into not feeling good enough. This illusion will tell you that you are not worthy, make you feel scared, keep you with someone who treats you poorly, and make you feel the need to compete and be better than others. The challenge lies in how powerful real this illusion appears. It colors every aspect of our reality like a cloud of thick gray smoke. While you cannot always avoid being caught in the smoke, you can recognize when you are in it. This is the most important part of seeing clearly. You must first understand that you are in an illusion before you can escape it. The more you become cognitively aware of your smoke, the less power it has over you. Right now, Shark's medicines for you is to understand that whatever currently brings you fear is not actually the truth. You are safe and everything is going to work itself out. Do not make big decisions when the gray smoke is visiting. Soon you will see clearly. I feel we have that worry, right? I feel there is something that you worry about. I feel there is something that it's like this, the past cycle. You started releasing the conditioning. You started understanding that there's a smoke, that there's an illusion, right? That it's all the fog of the brain, that it's all not real. It's all invented, right? It's a projection of the ego mind that loves story, that loves to worry, that loves inventing. And we need to reprogram it as we awaken, as we heal. It's the reprogramming of the mind to serve us and to serve our benefit, and not to protect us from invented things that we fear, right? And I feel you've realized that, but there are still certain things for this collective that you have to realize that they're part of the illusion. There was specifically one statement that I was looking at, into not feeling good enough, make you feel scared, keep you with someone who treats you poorly. Remember, we mentioned this. So maybe there are still people within your family, in your friendship, or someone that you feel that is your true soul connection. They treat you poorly. They don't respect these boundaries that remember we talked about the boundaries that should apply to everyone, and you're excusing things because your mind is inventing excuses that this is a soul connection or that this is a family member. No, it doesn't matter. And I always say this to you guys.